Welcome to CourseLeaf CIM Courses, Edit an Existing Course Training Aid. In this video, you will learn how to modify existing courses, submit forms for the right approvals, and review modified courses. Let's go ahead and get started by navigating to broward.edu in your browser. Once you're on the home page, log into the One Access page. You will select the tile CIM Courses. If you don't see this tile, select Company Everything and you will see the tile there. If for some reason you don't see it, please go ahead and submit a help desk ticket. Once you click the CIM Courses tile, you'll be taken to the course inventory management page that looks like this. You may receive a message that says you must click to log in to authenticate. Go ahead and click that red circle and it will bring you directly to this page. For today's demonstration, we're going to edit GEB 2112. You'll select the search bar, type in GEB 2112, and select the search button. If for some reason your course does not come up, you can add an asterisk at the end and that will help you expand your search. So here we are, we're ready to edit GEB 2112. You will first select the Edit Course button and a second window will open. If you have your pop-up blockers off, please go ahead and shut that off. You'll select your change type. We have 5-year review, request waiver of first read if there are extenuating circumstances, or a standard review that goes through the typical 2-read process with the curriculum committee. You will then select No for Is this course being interbed because we are editing an existing course. You'll also notice that there are certain fields that have a red box around it. Those fields are required fields and you must have a selection. Next, you'll see your subject code and your course number. Your subject code is connected to your department and your division. So if you change your subject code, it will automatically change your department and division. You'll also see your course title. We ask that you please enter your course titles in all caps. You'll notice these little blue bubbles here. These are help bubbles. So if you forget something, hover over it and it will give you additional information. You also have your short title, which is a maximum of 20 characters. So you get to choose what your short title will be. Next, we'll go into the effective term. We want to make this change effective for fall 2025. Please don't forget to select the correct effective term. And unless you're changing the academic level, you'll keep associate as it is or bachelor or whatever it is already populated. For our example, we're not going to change the course number, but we will change the title to Entrepreneurship in Crafting. I want to go ahead and modify the short title for the maximum of 20 characters. I've already selected the effective date. I know that we're not going to offer them at certain locations, so I can go ahead and select the X. It's going to ask me to confirm that I want to delete that row because once it's done, you cannot change it. Okay. Here are the course tags. We ask that unless you know what course tags go on a course, just go ahead and leave it as is. Don't make any modifications unless you know for sure you need to change something. The ICS code is pre-populated as well as the state org unit. Again, if you don't know what it should be or if you're not making a change, we ask that you leave it as is. We have multiple grade modes at Broward College. A majority of our courses use the AU grading mode, But if you know that you need to change the grading mode, you can do that at this time. But we're going to leave all of this information as is. Are there any pre or co-requisites? If there are none, you select no and that box disappears. If there are, you select yes. Here we have additional information for our requirements for your requisites. These are required pre or co-requisites. Do not include any recommended requisites. We also give you additional information that if a student needs to fulfill multiple requisites, it gives you a little bit more information on how to do that. So let's say for this entrepreneurship class, students must take ENC 1101. You would make sure that you type them in all caps. Does the student need a minimum grade? We will say they need a C. And is this course a prerequisite, co-requisite, or could it be both a pre and or co-requisite? For example, it needs to be a prerequisite. But there are also additional requisites for this course. To add another line, you will select the plus button. Keep in mind if you add another line, this additional line functions as an and. That means students would need to take the first line and the second line. I'll show you how to do an or. So let's say we want our students to take a second course. It can be ENC 1102 or SPC 1017. Here, this is how you show an or. So from this example, we know students must take ENC 1101 prior to registering for this course, and they must take ENC 1102 or SPC 1017. But for this, it can be a pre and or co-requisite. Students will need to satisfy 1102 or SPC 1017 prior to taking this course, or they can register for the course while taking it. And that's it for how you add a requisite. And if there is no minimum grade requirement, you just leave this blank. If there are non-course requisites, for example, the student needs a CPR certification or some type of license or some non-course requisite, go ahead and type that information in that line. Here we have the course description. And please make sure you use sentence case with your course description. Do not include any course requisites in the description if you can avoid it because we have the area at the top and any other pertinent information. You may expand this window by selecting the corner and dragging it. And then you can add what you need here. So for example, we're going to say, learn how to properly craft items for resale. Okay, and we want to take out and risk management because there's no risk in crafting. We make our modification and you add the word and there we go. Um, and then we'll put at the end, um, get ready to watch your income grow. Okay, that's our course description. Now here we have our learning outcomes. You'll notice that the auto number corresponds to the general number here, outcome number 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. That's important, and I'll show you why. Let's say you know that learning outcome 1 is fine. You don't want to make any modifications, but you do want to make a modification to learning outcome number 2. You'll select the edit pencil here, and it will open up your learning outcome. Again, you see the auto number here and the general outcome number here. This second number is something you have to pay special attention to, and you have to make sure it always corresponds with your auto number. You'll see that the specific learning outcomes are indicated below. So let's go ahead and change this title. We want to capitalize the S, Business Skills in Crafting. The student shall be able to apply business concept and problem-solving techniques to design and create specific reports and data instruments present in. We see that there is an error. We correct that in the act or launching of growing entrepreneurial ventures dedicated to crafting. And again, you see there's this button here. If we click and drag that, it can expand this box so you can see more. Same thing here. If you want to expand the learning outcomes, you can do that. With our learning outcomes, we use this menu bar up here, and you'll notice that the numbering list is selected. This makes adding and deleting your specific learning outcomes very easy. So let's say we want to remove learning outcome number 4. All you have to do is highlight it, delete it again, and it stays numbered for you. But we need to add a learning outcome after number 6. Increasing your crafting skills to make items appeal to customers. So we've added that, we reviewed everything else, and we're happy with what we have here for this learning outcome. You can drag the box up if you don't see down here, and you will click Save. So now it's been edited. Now I realize I think that this learning outcome number 2 really should be the last learning outcome. So what I'll do is I can now navigate to bring them lower. This first button shifts your lines down. The second one will shift it up. So I want to make number 2 number 4 now. So I'll go down. You see it here now. I'll select it down again. Now it's here. But if you notice, our auto numbers stay the same, but these numbers don't match. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to go in and edit each one to make sure that now 2 matches with 2 here. Just change it, select Save. You see now 2 matches with 2, but 3 and 4, that doesn't match, and 4 and 2 doesn't match. So we need to make sure we modify that. But then I realized we don't need this learning outcome here. In order to delete it, again, you select this little X, click OK, and now it's gone. But make sure once you select to delete that row, you're sure about it because you can't get it back. Now we notice we have 1, 2, 2. We'll go back into this learning outcome, modify it to 3, and select Save. Now our auto numbers and our general outcome numbers match. Next, you'll go to hours and units. Here, if you're changing the formatting to a lecture lab combination or any other combination or instructional format, you do it here, but we're leaving this the same. For our lecture hours, we want to increase it because, hey, you're going to be crafting, so we're doubling the lecture hours to 64. You notice that the contact hours change automatically, and you have more information here. The variable credits is if this is a variable, the variable contact hours is if this is a variable credit course. This is not, so let's make sure it matches your total contact hours. And then the unit types are credits. For the credits, most courses are 3 credits. We have many that are 4 or 5 credits. Just make your modifications if you're going to change it. We're not changing the units or how many credit hours it is. The faculty load hours, this is typically the same as your student contact hours unless there's a specific reason why it's not. If you're not sure, please reach out to your associate dean. For our class, we're going to match our faculty load hours to our student contact hours because the faculty member is going to be in front of them the whole time. Is this course repeatable for credit? If a student can take this course multiple times and earn credit each time, you would select yes. There are only very specific courses that this can apply to, so please make sure you reach out to your associate dean or curriculum services if you're not sure about whether you should select yes. But if you did have, the course was eligible, you would select yes, the number of times the class could be taken for credit. But for this course, we're going to select no. Is it work-based learning? This is a brief description on what we consider work-based learning. For more information, you can get a complete description on the Curriculum Services website. So we're going to say, no, this is not a work-based learning course. Are there course designators? If you know what your designators will be, select here. If not, leave it blank. Is there a micro-credential attached to this course? If there is, go ahead and include the URL. Here, you'll have the rationale from the last time this proposal was sent for approval. You'll need to select it and make the change and give your brief rationale. Please keep in mind, this is the rationale we include on the curriculum committee agenda, so please make sure it has proper punctuation, proper grammar, and gives a brief snapshot into the rationale for the request. It doesn't need to be 4, 5, 6, 7 sentences long. It can be 1 or 2 sentences long that gives a high level overview of the rationale for your request so that when it starts on its workflow, your fellow faculty, your associate dean, and your dean and the college community will get a high level sense of why you're making this change. You'll have the opportunity at the curriculum committee meeting to explain further the rationale for your change. So our change is adding a crafting element to increase the visibility of this industry. Okay, so now I, I think I finished. I'm going back to review everything. It's entrepreneurship and crafting. The effective term is correct. The pre and corrects are correct. The description is what I want. The learning outcomes are what I want. And then I realized, you know what? Because this course is specifically about crafting, I think I want to include a lab component to it. So what I'll do is I'll select, change it to lecture lab combination, and there you'll see some expanded fields. How many hours will the students spend in the lecture part of your course? How many hours will students spend in the lab portion? Well, for this, they're going to spend 48 hours in the lecture part, but we still want it to be 24. You see this auto calculates for us. We want it to be 64. So we'll change this to 48, but that's too many. I need to reduce it. Well, maybe it's 16 hours. Let's see. And there we have it. I did that to show you that this helps to auto calculate your hours. So if you do make a mistake, if you do put 12 instead of whatever it is you meant, it will show it for you. Okay, I've reviewed it. And now we have these these buttons down here. This is for curriculum services only. You will not be able to modify the scan status. It'll be grayed out for you. So now you have cancel, save changes, and you will have start workflow. You only see this button right now for our demo purposes. If you've done work and you realize, oh, this is the wrong course, or I wanted to revert back to everything I had before, you can hit the cancel button and it will wipe out any changes you've made. If you have to step away for more than 2 minutes, we recommend you save your changes because if you keep this window open too long and you come back to work, it's going to give you an error message. So if you select save changes, you can do that. If you've done everything you needed to do and you're ready to start the workflow, you're ready for it to go to the faculty for their review for that 8-day hold, and then for it to go to the associate dean, the dean, and then to the curriculum committee, go ahead and click the start workflow button. But I'm going to show you what happens when you click Save Changes. So I needed to consult with another faculty member. I'm not quite ready to start this workflow yet. And when you save the changes, you'll notice it says up here in the status is edited, but nothing in the workflow because it hasn't started. It says changes saved but not submitted. And then you can review it. As we look down, you'll see in green what we've modified. It tracks your changes. It strikes through what we've deleted, gives you green for what we've added. You'll see the learning outcomes. The numbers have been changed. This outcome has been deleted. And it gives you a clear map of what modifications have been made. When you're ready to go ahead and start this workflow, just go back and search this course again, select it, hit Edit Course. I'm satisfied with everything, so let me scroll down and I'll select the Start Workflow button. Over here, you'll see the workflow. You'll notice that where it is currently in the workflow, it will have this brownish orange font color that tells you where it is. And then you can see the flow of how your course will work. Once it's in this 8-day hold, faculty have the opportunity to review it, to add comments, to make suggestions. And for number 2, you will see your name here. It only says this because we're in a demo, but if your name is John Doe, it will say number 2, John Doe, because once the faculty review it, it does come back to you so that you can look at the comments and make any modifications that you feel are warranted. So please, please, please keep in mind, once you start this course, you initiate it, you're not done. It will come back to you a second time to see if there are any changes or modifications you need to make. At that time, you can make any modifications or changes, and then you'll approve it, and then it will go to the associate deans for their review and to move it to the next step. Then it goes to the dean and they review it and move it to the next step. And then it comes to curriculum services where we will review it to make sure everything is correct. And then it goes on the curriculum committee agenda. And of course, there's the 2-read process for the first read. The second read, if it gets recommended, it goes to our Board of Trustees for approval. And if they approve it, we then submit the changes to the state for their approval. And once that happens, we will then go ahead and complete the workflow for this course and get it updated in our student information system. So now that you've started the workflow, how do you know that the course is ready for you to look at it again? How will your faculty know? How will your AD or your dean know? Well, there are 2 ways you will know it's time for action to happen. The first way is a more proactive approach. You would come back to Kim, type in your course, search for it, and you can look here at the workflow to see exactly where it is. If you've noticed that it's in the faculty queue for longer than the 8 days, maybe you can go ahead and reach out to your fellow faculty and say, hey, can you guys take a look at GEB 2112 because it's kind of stuck in the process. If you notice it's still at the AD or the dean's level, you can reach out to them and ask them to take a look at it so that we can move the process along. That's one way you can see where a course is. The second way is whenever action takes place on a course, the system generates an email. So for that first step, when it's time for the faculty to review a course, they'll all get an email that says, Kim Courses Review Request from Curriculum Services. It gives the information, what the course is, and it provides a link that all they have to do is select that link and it will take them directly to the course. Same thing for you as the initiator. When that 8-day hold has gone and we've had at least one faculty member vote on the course, because it does need to have engagement from at least one faculty member to move it forward, you'll also get an email like this that says there are some actions being requested in the system for you to move the course forward. You get that email and you select that link. For some reason, if you don't see the email, or if someone says they don't see the email, just go to your inbox, search Kim Courses Review Requests, and then you'll be able to see all of the system generated notifications you've received. So now that the email has come to the various parties, we'll look at what happens next. For our faculty, when they are reviewing the courses, they'll come back to the window similar to this. They'll have the opportunity to look at all the changes. They can select add a comment, where they can comment to you, the initiator, or to the other faculty members. Those comments are recorded on this proposal. Then they have the opportunity to vote yes or no on whether they support this proposal. Again, this is just to get feedback from the faculty. They can say, yes, they support it, great job. They can say, no, I think we need to be more in depth, or I don't agree with the changes, and that's okay. You want to engage with conversations with your faculty, and just because someone votes no, or even if the majority of folks vote no, that does not stop the progress of this course. It will continue to move forward, because it's at the curriculum committee level where the official vote comes whether or not to recommend a course. Hopefully, you've communicated with your faculty and your colleagues beforehand so that this is not a surprise to them, or this can be an opportunity to engage in conversations onto what could get added to the course to help garner support. That is why it's super important that for this second step, it comes back to you so you have an opportunity to address any concerns people may have. Again, it's not going to say Broward-admin. It'll have your name. If your name is John Doe, it will say John Doe. So this is the view that the faculty will have. Now, the faculty, the 8-day hold has passed. You've had at least one faculty member who's engaged with this proposal. Now it's back to you in your inbox. You will get an email similar to this letting you know there's some action that's required for you to participate in order to move the course forward. Again, it's going to say your course number, not this course number, because this is just an example, but I just wanted you to be able to see this is what the email will look like. You will select this link and it will take you to a page that looks like this. It's a little bit different because now we're in the approval screen or part of the software. It should take you directly to the course you're reviewing, but if it doesn't, you can select up here and look for your name. It'll be in alphabetical order based on your first name. Look for your name here. So if your name was John Doe, it would be here. But for our example, it's Broward Admin. So you would select the name that's in the list. You'll also notice your name will be up here. Do not select that one or you won't see the course. Make sure you select your name that's in the list. Once you select your name, you'll see your course. At the bottom, you'll be able to see if anyone made any comments. It would be down here. No one made comments, but that's okay. And so now this is your opportunity if you need to make any edits. So you can click that edit, the blue edit button, and you can make any edits at that time. But if there are no edits that are needed, you would go ahead and select the approve button, and then it moves it on to the next stage in the process. And you now are just waiting to hear from the curriculum services and curriculum committee to know when you will present your courses. And for your associate deans and deans, they will go through this same exact process to review your course to move it on to the next step. And just as a quick reminder, yes, you finished all that you needed to do. You're just waiting to hear from the curriculum committee. Again, you could go back to CIM Courses, search for your course, and follow the workflow. You see that the faculty it's finished that step. Again, your name would be here. The associate dean has finished their step, and you see that it's at the business dean step. This is why we want to encourage you to follow your path of your course so that you can be engaged with its process to get it reviewed in a timely manner. After viewing this, now you should be able to modify your existing courses, submit those forms for the right approvals. The screens that we showed you are considered forms, and we also showed you how to review modified courses. We also have this information in a training aid for you to be able to review, where it shows you exactly what we just discussed, but with images. We show you how to review and improve courses, the course status. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please know that Curriculum Services is here to help. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us at curriculumservices@broward.edu. We look forward to hearing from you and have a great Seahawk day.